Andrew Carnegie, one of the most powerful men in early industrial America. Guys, Andrew Carnegie had so many principles that he lived by, which so many other great entrepreneurs have lived by as well. It's unbelievable how many people I've studied who came after Carnegie, who said that they got this or that idea from him, right? And I kept hearing this over and over and over again, and I'm like, okay, I need to study Carnegie. Because, guys, there are people who come up with new ideas, right? New inventions and all that. But generally, principles stay the same, from generation to generation, right? It's the principles which matter most. And then applying those principles to our modern day and age, which produce the best results, right? So, guys, I took some notes on the book, the things that I thought were the most important, the most valuable. I would highly suggest you go and buy the book anyways, because my notes don't do the entire book justice. It really is a great book. Andrew Carnegie, David Nasaw. Go on Amazon, go get it, or go buy a used version. I would highly suggest it. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about was Andrew Carnegie's philosophy on investing in companies. And I think that these 5 things that Andrew Carnegie says here are just so powerful. So the first thing that he suggests is to only invest in companies you have investigated yourself, right? So Carnegie did not invest in companies which he did not know anything about. I think that so many of us think about, investing in the future, right? We want to be successful, and then we want to invest in things to multiply our money and create, lasting wealth. But we often get too attracted to all these different things that we can invest in. Oh, we can invest in real estate. Oh, I can invest in this kind of business or that kind of business, right? But he says to only invest in companies which you've investigated yourself. So Andrew Carnegie invested in other steel companies. He invested in Henry Clay Frick's Coke company, which was a substance that was used to create iron and steel, right? A very important component of the steel-making process. So Carnegie invested in that company, ended up becoming a majority shareholder in that. And then he invested in railroad companies, which were directly tied to the steel business, right? So everything was connected to one another. And all of his investments were strategic. He knew everything about the companies that he was investing in. So the next thing he says here is to only invest in companies in which you have insider knowledge. Guys, pretty much the same as the last one. Insider knowledge. It means that you know people within the industry who are ahead of trends, who understand where the market is going, who can anticipate, booms and crashes, right? To get connected with them, right? Have insider knowledge. Be connected with the people who know what's going on. The next thing Carnegie says here, only invest in companies that sell goods and services where demand is growing. It's such a simple concept, but it's so hard in practice, right? We have to understand the potential of a market, the potential of a product or service. How big is the market? And if it's growing, is it reaching its cap, or is there another ceiling that it can break through to get to another level? So only investing in companies that sell goods and services where demand is growing, I think, is fundamental, because you don't want to be investing in dying companies, guys. Obviously, we want to be investing in growing companies, but we have to have insider knowledge, and we have to have investigated it ourselves to know whether that's the case or not. The next thing, never invest as an individual. I really didn't think about this concept before hearing this from Carnegie, but he always says, don't invest as a single person, right? You want to invest with a team of people, because it's so much more powerful if you go in with a group of people who are all, very smart and understand the industry. You'll actually fare much better in the long run, rather than just trying to invest by yourself, right? You need to get connected with people who understand the industry and who are all driven to make the business better, right? You want to be in a group of people where everyone is just driven to grow the company. And investing by yourself is not as powerful of a strategy as investing with a group of individuals. And like I just said, the last one was invest with a group of trusted associates who will together own a controlling or dominant interest in the company. Such a powerful concept, and I'm really going to think about that once I am at a place where I can start making big investments in businesses, to team up with the right people and not try to do everything all on my own. That's something that I've struggled with, trying to get everything done on my own. Guys, to get to the top, it doesn't happen solo, right? Even all these guys at the top that you think, oh, they were the sole founder of their company. No, they weren't. They had a team of people. Who came in, who were smart, who were driven. And maybe those people fell off over time, but it always starts with a team. Always starts with a team. And then, this next thing's great. Andrew Carnegie's principles on piling up wealth. He said that there's 3 things that have to fall into place. The first thing is to be in the right place, the right time. The second is avoiding a variety of moral vices, right? So to pile up wealth, you need to avoid all the moral vices out there that are attracting you guys. All the things that are pulling you in that are wrong, that you shouldn't be doing, but which are attractive nonetheless. And as you get successful, and climb the ranks, more and more of those opportunities are going to present themselves to you, and you think that you can get away with anything, right? But the more that you indulge in these moral vices, the more likely it is that you're going to fall apart, right? You're going to get in trouble. So avoid moral vices. And then third, wisely concentrate one's energies and talents. Those are the 3 principles to piling up wealth. Super powerful, guys. Pretty self-explanatory. The next thing I want to talk about is, let's see here, 3 things to avoid. 3 things to avoid in your life, which I think are great. Liquor, obviously. Guys, I haven't had a drink in 2 years. I don't care if people have a drink once in a while. I don't think it's a big deal. A drink once in a while is totally cool. But I know what he means here. Avoid liquor in excess. The next thing, speculation. Avoid speculating, right? Be strategic. Understand what you're investing in. And the third, endorsement. So I think those are just such powerful things that Carnegie talks about here. The next thing, Carnegie kept track of everything. He kept track of all costs in his company. Each month, I also wrote here, each month he got a statement of every single cost. He would go down to the penny, right? Down to the cent of how much money they were spending. And then he wanted to know profits, but much more importantly, he wanted to know costs. How much is this costing us? How can we reduce costs? Rather than thinking about maximizing profits, he thought about reducing costs, which in turn maximizes profits. Super powerful. Next, this was Carnegie's principle on workers. After reading this book, I couldn't believe how many strikeouts and how many complications there were between the workforce and his companies back then. It was unbelievable with the Amalgamated Association, which was kind of a labor union for steel workers. They had so many problems. I mean, constant strikes, people not wanting to work 12-hour shifts. And this is what Carnegie says on that. If they don't want to work when I want them, I should take good care that they don't work when they want to, right? So when people don't want to work and he wants them to, right, that's frustrating. And what he's saying is, as soon as people come crawling to him saying that they need work, he's going to keep it in mind that they didn't want to work when he wanted them to. Really powerful thing right there. And I think that's something that I think it's something that a lot of people wouldn't agree with, but I think it's super important, right? To be in agreement with your workers on what you want them to do, and if they don't follow, then you shouldn't be so kind as to give them work when they come crawling back to you. The next thing, disorganization and anarchy give way to organization and coordination. This is such a good line. Right, when you're disorganized and everything's all over the place. I think that's how life is, right? Whenever we're building anything, especially a business, at the beginning it's disorganized. And you have to allow it to be messy, right? You have to allow yourself to fail, to, constantly improve yourself, risk failure. And then that will lead way to organization and coordination. I think that is such a powerful message. Something that I'm going to keep in mind as I'm building up my own business. And these are the last few points I wanted to make here. This is what Andrew Carnegie thinks about millionaires. He says, the millionaire's whole life is changed from the moment he resolves to become a disciple of the gospel of wealth. I'm going to repeat that one more time. The millionaire's whole life is changed from the moment he resolves to become a disciple of the gospel of wealth. So he believes wealth is kind of religious in a way. And once you become the disciple of wealth, and once you understand wealth, and you commit to making wealth, in creating lasting wealth in your life, then that's when your life is going to change. And then last 2 points here. Andrew Carnegie acted on behalf of the larger community, right? He gave back his money. He gave back to the community. He did what he could to improve the well-being of the broader community. In many ways, he was a hardcore capitalist, but he was also a socialist at the same time. And he kind of got he got a lot of flack from people who kind of drew saw the contradiction between who he was and the amount of wealth he had and his philosophy, and thinking that socialism was a good path moving forward for the United States. And guys, I'm going to end on this quote right here from him. He says, "Gentlemen, just count me out on this disgraceful roll to ruin." That was one of the last quotes I read in the book, and I thought that was super powerful. Gentlemen, just count me out on this disgraceful roll to ruin. So he's saying, you know what, guys, if you want to ruin this company, count me out. I'm not here for that. And guys, these are just a few principles from this book. I think it's super powerful. It wasn't in any kind of order. I just wanted to share some thoughts, some notes that I took down from the book. And guys, I would highly recommend it. Again, this is Andrew Carnegie by David Nasaw. Go pick it up. Highly recommend. I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. This is Blaze of Cyan signing off. Appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.